me a couple times, and now you're giving me trophies, man. That's how you do it.
Hey, you earned it. What are you talking about?
Well, no, it's tons of respect for you. Love seeing what you're doing right now, and I just think you know how it is playing this game and playing this position. It's all about finding a rhythm, you know, and for all 11 to be on the same page when we go out there and execute. And I think we were able to find a good rhythm this year, a rhythm that we hadn't found for a long time this year. But that's what great teams are able to do, win in multiple ways. And I think we showed that we can win in this way as well. So it was a great team game, team win.
Yeah, it sure was. And I think that rhythm that you talk about, too, in the pass game, what I loved, and I told my partner KB up here all day, was like just seeing you catch that ball, find AJ, and just that ball comes out of your hands. Like, that was the most rhythmic I've seen in a long time. Is there anything different today that you were seeing? Because to me, you're unstoppable when you play like that.
Well, I think just like I said, throughout the week, you know, I've talked a long time about continuity and building a rhythm and being on.
Let me talk my shit again.
What it do? This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Before we get into this video and absolutely breaking down how we dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday at the link, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. Furthermore, if you have a loved one or a family member that is a Steelers fan, Bengals fan, Ravens fan, or a Browns fan, do me a solid, send this video to them as well, because it needs to be said, it needs to be made clear. When it comes to the toughest division in all of football, they got belt put to ass from the first one down to the very last one. And not one of those teams scored over 20 points. And lo and behold, the toughest matchup of them all was the Cleveland Browns. So with that being said, definitely send this over to that loved one and let them know not only do you care about them, because the holidays are coming up, let them know that we're not to be fucked with or played with anymore. With that being said, let's go and look at, and really before we go to looking at some of the videos and the clips from the games, there was definitely questions going into this game, not on the defensive side, but definitely on the offensive side, as well as really the passing game in Jalen Hurts. And when you see a guy like Jalen Hurts not looking like he typically looks in terms of how he dresses going into the game, the Kangol, the puffy vest, the sweatsuit, that's definitely a fit, especially given the fact the guy had a cast on his non-throwing hand on his finger. Now, that's not something that you should necessarily be concerned with. Why is that? Because the guy had blacked out Timbs. You see a man like Jalen Hurts walking with blacked out Timbs in a full sweatsuit with a Kangol hat on, prepare for trouble. It's not going to be a light one. And we know about Mike Tomlin and these Pittsburgh Steelers and how they typically do. I mean, the guy's never had a losing season. So these guys are definitely to be respected. Specifically, a guy like TJ Watt in that defense, great defense. But you're going against these Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts with black Timbs on. Yes, you're going to prepare for Jalen Carter. You're going to prepare for Saquon Barkley. You can't be prepared for a guy like that when he's that locked in. As Tom Brady said, when the guy is locked in, he's unstoppable. This offense, this team is unstoppable. When he's in rhythm, can't touch him. When it comes to black Tim activity, I don't know if anybody on this team exhibits, exudes, embodies black Tim activity more than Jalen Carter. I mean, this is a guy that probably has 3 unnecessary roughness calls for the entirety of the season. I think he's tied for most out of anybody. Now, do you want to see one of your best players getting these kind of calls? Absolutely not. But when you think about this team just last year and the kind of mentality and the energy in which it had, these dudes were soft. So if we got to sacrifice one of these calls every 2-3 games to let motherfuckers know we're not here to be played with, so be it. Because really and truly what Jalen Carter actually does when he's not getting stupid penalties like this, he's creating mismatches and allowing guys like Josh Sweat, who's had a very quiet year with 8 sacks on the season, allow him to get 2 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Obviously, Josh Sweat has to get out there and do the job and handle his own business. When you got guys in the middle like Jalen Carter creating and wreaking havoc, even former teammates from college like Nolan Smith can also go off and make their imprint on the game felt, because this is a guy that has 5.5 sacks on the season as well. But in yesterday's game, 4 tackles, a sack, 2 tackle for losses, a pass deflection, and 2 QB hits. I mean, this defense, this D-line, these guys are locked in at a great level and really at the best time, playing great ball in December, going into January. This is exactly what we should be doing, and it's exactly what we weren't doing just last year. Yes, we had a great team. Yes, we started off great. Clearly, this is not the same Philadelphia Eagles, and we're letting it be known on a weekly basis. Go in and try that. Think it's last year, and, prepare to get burned. This is just what's going to happen. I said it going into this game, these guys did not have enough going against this Philadelphia Eagles. Lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Because obviously I mentioned this player last week and a guy like Slay and him making big plays and gave him his flowers on those 2 big 4th down stops against the Panthers. And what did he do? He took that up another level, even though he was hurt in this game, picking up a timely fumble recovery, which essentially was the last time these guys saw the ball. After this fumble recovery, I think they probably had one more possession, but really like 11 plays for the second half, if not the fourth quarter. Their offense was non-existent in that game. And obviously it has a lot to do with what the defense did and absolutely putting a stranglehold on what the Russell Wilson-led Steelers do, especially given the fact we've never beaten Russell Wilson since he's been in the league. And getting that win against him yesterday was definitely big. But when it comes to this team and this offense, having to answer questions, I know a lot of people said that Saquon Barkley is the one that has been carrying the load, especially since the bye. But given the fact that Saquon Barkley did not have his best game by any stretch, and I already mentioned it, Mike Tomlin is definitely one of those coaches like Bill Belichick where he understands what teams do best, and he's going to do his best. If not, he is going to succeed in taking away your best options. You're going to have to beat him a different way, which is why the Steelers tend to beat teams in several different ways. Because that coaching and that team, they're coached up very well. And having a guy like Saquon Barkley not have over 75 yards combined you would see that, you think, so Jalen Hurts, what did he do? He had a stinker. Not only did he not have a stinker, Saquon Barkley, and when it comes to what he carried yesterday, the only thing he carried was Cam Hayward for about 4 and 5 yards because, again, a very quiet game. And even on this spectacular 4-yard pickup that was started off with Jalen Hurts avoiding a lot of pressure and then Saquon Barkley making 2 guys miss. I mean, these are the 2 biggest plays he had all game. Again, just under set. He didn't even have 70 yards rushing and didn't have 80 yards from scrimmage at all. But when it comes to a guy that was an unsung hero in yesterday's game, that definitely deserves his flowers, probably more than anybody. Kenneth Gainwell, absolutely needed to step up because if y'all remember correctly, when Saquon took that hit by Minkah Fitzpatrick, we didn't see a lot more of Saquon, probably until like midway through the 3rd and the 4th quarter. And number 14, even though a lot of us do not like to see him out there, because when we see him out there, that means there's no Saquon. This guy was stepping up big time. And he picked up several first downs. This first down in particular, where 2 guys are looking at him when he's behind the line of scrimmage and splits both defenders to damn near score a touchdown. I mean, Kenny Gainwell is just a godsend when it comes to being a great backup and maximizing the minimal amount of opportunity that he has. That's exactly what he did in yesterday's game. Huge, big bouquet of flowers for Kenny Gainwell because the guy stepped up, and that's exactly what we needed when it came to the running game or even just catching the ball out of the backfield. Huge shout out to Kenny Gainwell. But when it comes to a guy that absolutely needed to be on his P's and Q's, even starting off the game rough. I mean, we started off the game with 2 fumbles, but what did Jalen Hurts do? He didn't flinch. I mean, the guy had over 330 yards from scrimmage, 290 from the air, getting both of your targets, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, 2 touchdowns, or a touchdown apiece, and over 100 yards with 3 incompletions between the both of them. Absolute masterclass by Jalen Hurts. Absolute masterclass by Jalen Hurts. Because obviously you saw what AJ did. Just beating Dante Jackson. Just beating Dante Jackson. But the great communication between Jalen and Smitty. But the great communication between Jalen and Smitty, because this is where we had time in the pocket. Because Jalen going through his progressions and Jalen going through his progressions between him and Smitty. We said we're going to go to the left, Smitty, and both of them knowing we're going to go to the right. And both of them knowing they're going to the right. Shit that we love to see. I mean, this is the kind of shit that we love to see. Not necessarily because we're talking about a team on a 10-game win streak. Because we're talking about a team on a 10-game win streak. At 12 and 2. A lot of people were clamoring, beating the table down. A lot of people were complaining about the table down. So that's exactly what he gave us. I mean, even finding Smitty on an easy rub route is exactly what you want to see because Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are 2 different kind of receivers. One guy, you just need to give him the targets, let him go to work. He's just too big, too strong, too fast, can't be covered. The other guy, very savvy, slick, needs to be schemed more in the offense and given opportunities like this to where you can't follow him on a rub route. He's just too quick, too savvy. He's just too quick, too savvy. And really, that's all she wrote when it came to this matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a team that was 10-3 going against this matchup, going against us. And at this point in time, after that Jalen Carter penalty and they punt the ball, which it looked like they was going to get the ball back, but they didn't. We get the ball back with 10 and a half minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And the Pittsburgh Steelers offense doesn't see the field again. I mean, you can say it has a lot to do with George Pickens not being on the field. You can say it has a lot to do with the defense just being too good for Pittsburgh Steelers offense, whether or not Pickens was on the field or not. I think it firmly has to do with the toughness and the mentality of this team. Because this play in particular, where Nolan Smith absolutely sends Najee Harris to the shadow realm, going out of bounds, where he tried to get into the end zone. You see Darnell Washington trying to get cute and blocking after the whistle. And Slade, not only is he not going for it, his young bull, his rookie, Quinyon Mitchell's right there stepping into the fray. This is a rookie taking up for his vet, and the entire team comes afterwards, and now Darnell Washington is a church. He's a horror in a church. He's a church mouse now. He ran out of there quick as hell. He wanted no problems after that. And really, when it came to the Pittsburgh Steelers, none of them wanted that smoke or those problems because we dominated both lines of scrimmage. I mean, when you hold a team under 200 yards of total offense, they have, 11 plays in the second half. You hold the ball for 10 minutes to close out the game. You know how hard that is? That's incredibly difficult to hold the ball for 10 minutes and to salt the game away and kind of just do whatever play you want just to keep the ball in your possession. That is not hard by any stretch. But when you're going against the Philadelphia Eagles, there's not much you could do. And with that being said, we're going to continue to talk our shit, because it's the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. And before we actually go out, I got to take some time out to say hello to my loved ones that are Steelers fans, my boy, my brother, Woody Grez, and my own cousin, Todd. Appreciate y'all. I'm on y'all bumper all week. Like I told y'all going into this game, I'm going to see y'all real soon. I'll be seeing them real soon. Peace.